What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Alex here with Matt. We are getting going here with our round one of the Modern RCQ 1K. We've got Richard on Izzet Cutter, Izzet Prowess, Corey Prowess, whatever you want to call it, against Ryan on Domain Zoo. And they are already off to the races. Thank you all so much for joining us. We've got our largest RCQ ever here with 51 players. So shout out to everybody playing. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And of course, hit up impactgamingcenter.gg for all of your Magic the Gathering needs. Okay, Matt, what do you think about this matchup as I just try and catch my breath after that lengthy intro?
That was quite the intro, Alex. This should be really interesting. So the Izzet Cutter deck is really fast. It can come out strong with these Steel Cutter plus Mishra's Bauble starts, or here we're seeing multiple Dragon's Rage channelers. Definitely has the potential to kill really quickly, but if they don't, on the domain side, you can get that flying lifelink hexproof vigilance Scion,
the Scion,
and that is going to put the game away. Now if we look here, Ryan does not have a ley line, and so this Scion, whenever it comes down, is not going to have all those keywords. That's going to make things a little tough for him.
That bite isn't going to have as much teeth as it normally would, for sure. But shout out to Gaming Adventure and Last God. Thank you all so much for joining us off the rip here on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit up our Twitch because we stream every Friday night for our Modern FNMs and then every time we have an RCQ. So shout out to them.
Oh, yeah. Impact is always popping every day of the week, but Friday is an especially good day. Get that sweet Modern action here.
We had 32, I think, last night for Modern, and then like probably 40 Commander players just playing some pickup games. But all right, so
Richard's got a pretty good hand here. I saw Steel Cutter, Violent Urge, which has the ability for +1/+0 and double strike. With these channelers, that Cutter is probably going to give him Delirium, and I mean we could be looking at a kill as early as maybe this turn, but more likely turn 4.
And there is Violent Urge, folks. Pretty new card from Duskmourn. Definitely giving this Cutter deck just another gear that wouldn't have previously had.
Yeah. So I think we're going to see Steel Cutter into either the Violent Urge, or he's also got a Bolt in hand, one of those two, to get that Monk token. And we're going to see a lot of damage come through this turn.
Oh, yeah. And Richard is definitely a player who is extremely meticulous. He analyzes the plays, and even when he wins RCQs, he goes and thinks, what could I have done in that tournament or that play, like round one, I kind of should have done this. He's very good at analyzing his plays.
And I want to shout out Ryan here, too. I know sometimes people like to roast people for reading the card, but I mean, you want to make sure you're making the best play that you can, especially with a new card. This card's been out for like a month.
Right.
You should make sure you're familiar with what it does. So always ask to read the card if you're not entirely sure.
Absolutely. And just a lot of triggers.
Yeah, it looks like you went with the Lightning Bolt line. I like that. It's safer in the face of removal. And then, Ryan's clearly holding up something. So there's still going to be a lot of damage coming through regardless here, and we're going to see how Ryan's going to be able to respond on his next turn. So I've got a fetch going right now, probably a removal spell of some kind coming through
here. Yeah, you'd imagine he wouldn't be fetching out Steam Vents if that wasn't the case. Stubborn denial.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
Triggers, okay? Yep. So, first trigger, we'll leave that on top. Second trigger, leave it on top. Third, make a monk. Go to combat. Yep. Attack for 8.
Ooh, the Charizard token. I like it.
It's a good token.
All right. Dropping Ryan all the way down to 5.
Yeah, no removal on that turn was really rough. 5 life, it's going to be really hard to get out from underneath the pressure that this Steel Cutter can provide, and we know about that Violent Urge sitting in hand, too.
Yeah, and Ryan's gonna say, "Let's go to game 2," and Richard gonna pick up the first win on camera here as we get set to go into game number 2. As I'm trying. Oh, it's already open. All right, there we go. The one thing I forgot. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Like I said, we've got 52, 51, somewhere in that range. I'll get an exact number in the next round, but take a look at this. We actually put everyone on the camera side so you can see we're not lying. Sometimes when we have these RCQs, we have like 40 people, and then I'm like, yeah, we got 40 people, and then I switch to this camera, and it turns out that there's no one over here but now we got all the players over here. Actually, there's one sad match on the other side of the room. But yeah, quite a few players here battling it out for their share of $1,000 cash, and of course, the right to go to the RC. And look, there they are. Aw. Those are regulars too.
They
That's
are.
Oh, but yeah, there's Jake there, and yeah, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. We can even kind of zoom in here. This thing zooms in incredibly far. Check this out.
Oh, and here we got our backup feature.
Yeah, our backup feature, man. Y'all didn't know about this one. Looks like domain against. Look, we even got life total. It's shaky because we're so far zoomed in, but we should probably talk about the match
talk
at
about some
hand.
sideboards.
Let's talk about sideboards. We do have their information, their deck list right here. So who do I got? I got Richards. We got Tormod's Crypt, Surgical ×2, Into the Floodmaw, Consigned to Memory, which is just the best sideboard card on the planet right now. 3 Unholy Heat, 2 Spell Pierce, and a Meltdown. I mean, I guess Unholy Heat might be a possibility here.
Yep.
But there's not a whole lot here for Richard against this. It seems like he's not really.
So Unholy Heat's a big one, and then the other one he's probably at least thinking about is that Into the Floodmaw.
Sure.
Just because if you do have that turn 0 ley line, you need to get that off the board.
Yeah.
And Floodmaw is the only way in the 75 that he's going to be able to do that. So those are the 2 cards he's probably thinking about. Here on Ryan's side, we've also got those consigns. We've got 3 Pyroclasms, some Path to Exiles, Rest in Peace, Wear Tear, High Noon, a popular standard sideboard card that's going to be real good here, and a Damping Sphere. So from Ryan, definitely expecting those High Noons to come in, and would not be surprised to see those Pyroclasms either as a way to try to clear up some of these small creatures. Pyroclasm's a little bit iffy in this matchup just because a lot of these creatures have prowess, or like Dragon's Rage Channeler can naturally get to 3 toughness, so it's not a shoe-in. So maybe he only brings in a couple of them instead of all 3, but wouldn't surprise me to see that. But those High Noons are the big one. That prevents you can only play 1 spell a turn. It turns off Corey Steelcutter entirely. Really, really powerful option for him.
Absolutely, and it looks like unfortunately Ryan is gonna have to take a mulligan here. I think Richard might be deciding still. But we do have comms on the players. We can hear them. You might not be able to. I like to keep it pretty quiet. You might be able to hear them occasionally, but I obviously don't want them competing with our voices. But we can hear them. So if they say anything of note, we will definitely convey that to y'all.
Yeah, it looks like Richard might have that one of Thundering Falls in hand, and that might be the debate that he was going through. Tap land on turn 1 is pretty awkward.
Tricky Nixon squeaking it out, yeah.
Oh, Escape Shift calling it out there. I do love me some Corey Steelcutter. I prefer to play it with the big dragon Murktide Regent, but if you want to go the more aggressive route, this prowess deck is really, really strong.
He wants to gamble it.
One of those one-landers that if it pays off, it pays off. I got him.
Yeah, Richard is going to decide he wants to mulligan. Oh, and he's gonna look. You never look, Richard. Play Cutter with Kuldotha Rebirth. Oh my gosh.
That's spicy.
I have nightmares about that card from back in standard days.
It's like shot.
I mean, at least you're not having nightmares about it in Pauper anymore.
3-drop.
Man,
That was like 5 bucks.
ripping pepperonis. All right, so both players, is Ryan going to 5 now then? Or is he resolving his first mulligan? I was talking, so I don't.
Yeah, they both should be on 6, just based on the order of mulligans here.
Okay, he's got 2. Richard's got 2 lands. It's always a little bit harder to see the blue player's side because there is a slight shadow on that side.
It looks like Ryan brought in consigned memory. That is that blue card on the. It might be a stubborn denial. I think it's a consign though. That is a way to stop Corey triggers, but it's a little bit
Narrow.
Yeah, I guess it can counter a bobble too. He's got the turn
Oh,
0 ley line.
okay. Exactly what he wants to be doing. Gonna get a surveil trigger off the Lush Portico.
Cutter is grape shot number 5. Okay, well I know who that person is now.
You couldn't tell by the name of the
DRC and tickets.
Scape Shift?
I've never seen him cast a escape ship before.
Oh, okay.
Before
I'm
my-
surprised he doesn't change. He's had like 15 different Twitch names.
Hmm.
I'm surprised he hasn't had like Teamer God 420 or something.
I got the turn 1 DRC for Richard. Very, very
wow.
powerful start.
Ryan just says Temple Garden go.
Go down to 16, get a mountain.
Yeah, he's got that consign in hand. We'll see if it's able to catch anything here or not.
And just so everybody knows, the feature match will have a 2-minute time extension if it comes at. Not looking like that.
2 mana, play a Corey
That's going to be the
Steelcutter.
case, but just in case. There's Corey Steelcutter.
It's not a color or artifact.
Okay, we're learning now that consign does
color, so
not
it's not a
counter Core Steel Cutter.
So you can untap your land. But trigger.
That's going to be a tough
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Trigger.
And I do appreciate how well Richard communicates.
My bad. Red. I'm a middle.
There you go. No scope.
Then I will pay 2 life.
Twitch
Cast me Gen-
Teamer God, no scope.
Throw it down to 14.
Ooh, mutagenic growth. This is going to be a big turn.
That's a lot of
lightning.
damage coming through on
Well,
turn 2.
there's a lightning bolt, though.
Surveil trigger good.
Lightning bolt going to take down the Darcy.
It still gets a dude. Range for 2.
And Charizard going to bash in.
Yeah, that bolt's definitely stems some of the bleeding here.
Oh,
and if,
yeah.
we get a Scion draw at any point in this game. That's going to break things wide open here for Ryan.
Oh, yeah. And just so
It's a
viewers
1/1.
know, if ever there is a discrepancy in life total between the tablet there and ours, the overlay, the ones on the overlay, refer to theirs because I got a lot of things going on. Reading Twitch chat, trying to keep up can be difficult. BioAmp says Richard is the GOAT. All right, so Ryan resolving a fetch land here. Just gonna get up. Looks like a plains.
Yep. Really confident that this ley line is not leaving play, because if it did, that would be bad news. Ooh.
Wow, that's pretty good. Ryan will go back to 20. Take
Yeah.
care of the. Was it a monk token? I think.
Okay, I think we're gonna see, yeah, EI here. He's gonna look at the top 3 and get to use 2 of those this turn potentially. Did not look like he got a land. I think he has another in hand. Expressive is really, really strong with Steel Cutter. It gets you that natural double spell. And
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna see some pressure put on that. Flage did a great job stabilizing the board, but now there's gonna be a prowess monk coming in every single turn.
So
Take that.
Swift Spear and
Saw this with the sun bottom.
Violent Urge.
Anyways, I have to.
Oh, he doesn't have a land.
Uh,
Oh, he does.
Oh,
Okay.
Thundering
It's a
Falls.
surveil land.
Keep that there and second.
GG. If you're there, we go. ImpactGamingCenter.gg. That's where you can find all these fine cards. Not to be confused with that Outlaw Mud Show, ImpactGamingCenter.gh.
Ooh, Ragavan coming through here. Connects, steals a steel cutter. Looks like he's not going to
Not gonna
cast it
cast it.
though.
Two cards.
This is going to be a big turn here. Except for to see Swift Spear into Preordain and to whatever else he draws. But there's going to be some prowess creatures coming on through.
I'll go down to 11.
Fetch to 11 off the Woody Footy. Just grab a mountain. That's a nice mountain.
It is a nice mountain.
Is that the goat, John Avon? I don't know.
I don't know my art that well.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Mountain Sister.
I don't know mountains that well.
They have blue. Cast
Yeah.
Preordain for the trigger.
For your ten, yeah, and it just as you had anticipated. Here we go. Here comes the parade of prowess triggers.
Counter this trigger to make it do.
Oh, he's gonna counter. Okay,
Okay,
that's fair.
found a use for it. Found a use for it. That's good. It gets it in the yard too, which is relevant. We might be seeing this Flage next turn.
You can both these on bottom. And draw.
Bottom off the preordain and then draw. So we have a random card that was drawn. It is a Arid Mesa that he drew.
Not ideal. It's a lot of lands on the prowess side of the table.
Typically want to stop at about 3, maybe 4, but
And now Richard's got a decision here. He's thinking about if he wants to cast this other Preordain or not. He chose not to cast it, which I think is correct because it's going to let him trigger the Steel Cutter again next turn.
Yeah.
Use that Preordain to find a spell. And now Ryan, if he's got a Surveil land, that's what he should go for here. Any extra card in the graveyard here is going to let Flage come back.
it's a pretty little mountain. Happy little mountain. Last guy says they'd equip the mountain, or equip the Corey Steel Cutter there.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised there wasn't an attack.
Yeah, any reason not? Like, what could be the...
I think he's
thought
holding.
behind that?
I think he's holding back for Ragavan. But if you're doing that, you absolutely would expect that you'd equip the cutter to block with it. But it's one of those things. Again, you playing with a new card. You sometimes forget this is actually an equipment, right?
Right.
You play it to make those monks every turn. But it does have the ability to attach to a creature, and
Sure.
in this case, it could get in the way of that monkey. Ryan did not opt for the Surveil land, so he's still a card short from bringing this Flage back. So maybe we'll see Ragavan coming through again. It's a little risky. Oh, he's actually got 2 Ragavans in hand. So he missed the Surveil, but he still could Ragavan, Legend Rule his Ragavan, and bring back the Flage that way, because he does have a treasure token.
So Ryan only has 1. The Lush Portico is the only Surveil land in his list.
Okay. Doing the sleuthing with the deck sheets here.
Yeah.
Remember, we've got these.
Ragavan gonna bash.
Yeah, and I like this. It's kind of a free attack. Worst case, Richard blocks, and there's a instant Ragavan dies, but then you get to bring that Flage back next turn.
Yeah, Richard said I'm gonna try and block. So that is what I do, Yugi.
Yeah, there's a trade. We're 1 mana short of being able to do Flage this turn, so probably going to see that Ragavan second main phase, and the big Titan's coming down soon.
Just a pass. Richard drawing mono lands.
Yeah, I probably still priced into firing off this Preordain.
30.
Yeah, there are some
Oh,
spells.
okay. Darcy in a bobble.
I don't really know if you want both here. If you're going to go top, you're probably drawing the bobble first.
Bottom.
Bottom is a very aggressive line. You really got to hope that third card's also a spell.
Was it though? It looks like it was because.
Looks like it might be a slick shot.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one.
Plot.
Plotting. Okay. Playing the long game here.
Yeah. Protecting it from the flage that he knows is coming. It makes sense. This flage is going to be tough to beat now that the game's gone this long.
Down to 9 goes Richard.
The lightning bolts. It's kind of a free roll unless you value the treasures.
Yeah, I think it's fired off. Yep, down to 6.
And yep, here comes the Titan.
So 3 to 22. And that flage is here to stay.
Richard's really got one turn here. He's going to need to top deck an expressive iteration and hit maybe 2 lava darts, and that might be enough for 22 with the slick shot.
How many players there? I believe are 52. I'll get an exact amount after round 1, but I believe I know it's above 50. So this is officially our largest RCQ ever, and Richard's gonna scoop them up, live to fight another day, and we are moving to game number 3.
Yeah, that last card there was a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Not gonna get the job done.
All right, let's kick it back to the sideboard as I refresh the life totals. All righty. Any reason to swap cards out into game 3? Looks like Richard is going to the sideboard. So is Ryan. So
I think Ryan is going to take those consigns out of his deck now that he realizes it doesn't get cutter.
yeah, that's fair.
Maybe the Pyroclasms will come in. Maybe he'll bring some of his main board cards back in. We'll see.
Absolutely. Thank you for watching, Corky. Appreciate you.
On Richard's side, though, my guess is he's maybe considering, depending on what he cut, he might be bringing back in some of his more aggressive cards to try and get a really fast kill for game 3. Because when that game goes long, right, in that case he just kind of flooded out, that is when this matchup starts to get hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard needs to kind of put the pressure on early and often and just not let up. I mean, he drew way too many lands. The mono arid mesa draws were not good.
I think he had 6 in between what was in play and in his hand at the end of that game, and that is too many to really stand a chance in most matchups in Modern.
Absolutely, pretty much for any deck too. Like that's just not where you want to be. So we will surveil the landscape here.
Well, looks like most of the matches are still going.
Yeah.
Lots of really great players in the room today. It's going to be a very exciting event, I think. Is there any deck you're looking forward to maybe seeing at some point today, Alex?
So I did see someone playing that mono blue Belcher, or well, whenever they were writing on their deck list, mono blue Belcher. That's spicy. Might have to get them on camera if they are in a winning position. Maybe as early as next round, but I don't know who it was. So I don't know their name. So
yeah, deck's very, very powerful. that was that took down one of the invites at the another local RCQ a couple weeks ago.
Nice. All right, so players trying to decide on mulligans. Looks like Richard will, in fact, take a mulligan here. But game 3, not where you want to start with the mulligan. Richard will be on the play, though, so...
And being on the play is a really, really big deal. One of the challenges of this domain deck is it does not have very many 1-mana cards. And so if you go in fast, you really have the potential to take him down. I think this looks like 5 cards with 2 lands, so I'm imagining we're going to keep this one. Yeah, looks like he's putting a lightning bolt on the bottom.
Ready?
Alrighty, here we go. Richard gonna start with Mountain, maybe, and then Darcy. Okay, back to Ryan.
No ley line for Ryan.
Very, very crucial to point that out, I think, because obviously the game he had it, he went ham, but
It's like we got a prismatic ending coming through here.
yeah.
That's really valuable. Dragon's Rage Channeler, one of the best turn 1 plays in this prowess deck.
Oh,
Gets
yeah.
you a lot of card selection, fuels that graveyard for the Violent Urge Delirium.
Go down to 18.
Losing that one is going to, like Richard still has plenty of game here to play, but that does slow him down quite a bit.
Absolutely, and especially being on mulligan, it's
Bottom.
gonna be a bit of an uphill battle at this point. But he does find another one here, so
Yeah, Swift Spear coming on through. Got to keep that pressure on.
flooded strand for Ryan, and just a pass.
Ryan seems very content here to play a bit more of the controlling style, rely on his higher power cards that cost more mana to
Yep.
close out the game in the long run, and you know, it seems like a very viable strategy. Put him in a spot here to take down this game 3.
I'm gonna play a land in second.
All right, so slick shot plotted, land, go.
Now, that slick shot, such a powerful card, being able to commit the mana on one turn and then get a really, really explosive follow-up. I think we've got double bolt in hand. I didn't quite catch that second card for Richard, but we could be looking at a lot of damage next turn.
Oh, yeah.
This Tarn's going to probably find a Surveil land, and maybe you can even get a 3rd spell. There's a Scion.
Does he have all 5 colors too?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Temple Garden, Xander's Lounge. It's the pretty classic choice for the domain players in terms of lands.
And there's Thundering Falls. If Richard has 2 bolts, he could double bolt the Scion potentially.
Yep, and that might be the line he needs to take, because this thing is just kind of a brick wall.
Oh,
It looked like a dart, maybe? Or it might have even been a 3rd bolt.
that'd be insane. Is that what it was? Oh, Unholy Heat, I think. Or maybe not.
Yes, that 4 steel cutter trigger.
Oh, Steel Cutter. Okay, that was the new card.
Cross trigger. Slick shot throw off. Trigger.
So it looks like he's going to try to get Ryan to block and
right
then
now
use
he's
the
a
bolt.
To finish it off.
I
2-2.
2-2,
And a 1-2.
so he gets a trigger.
The real question here is if this white
No,
mana
if it's
Ryan's
plus one,
got
plus one,
is a
that's it.
ley line binding.
Okay.
So go to combat.
Say that again. I didn't.
So
That was
Ryan's leaving up 1 white mana here, and I did just see it. He's got a ley line binding in hand.
Ooh.
That's going to be some big interaction here.
It's a 3, a 2, and a 1 currently.
3, 2, 1 is what Richard's attacking with.
Yeah, very clear communication by Richard.
I'm gonna attempt to lightning bolt you. Trigger. Crouch trigger. Trigger.
Yeah, and so Ryan went to block the Swift Spear, and with the prowess trigger, the Swift Spear is now going to be a 4/5.
Or before damage is dealt.
No, that's on the bolt.
Okay, that's just on the
And so now, before combat damage,
Slick shot doesn't get trigger. Wait, slick shot doesn't trigger Swift Spear? Is that right?
oh yeah, yeah, Slick Shot's a creature.
So does he have an extra prowess trigger then?
Oh yes, that was because it was just Steel
Was
Cutter
that-
plus Bolt, which does affect this combat. All right, we're doing a mid-match interruption here. Hopefully, the game doesn't move too far. So, Alex is going over to sort stuff up. Good catch. So I think we'll probably rewind a little bit here.
I know what happened.
What?
I don't have another prowess trigger. I'm dumb. I counted this as a spell instead of a. So you should still have your 4/4.
Okay, so
Well, hold on. They're gonna back it up.
Yeah. So the players are discussing what happened here.
Yeah, I just
Basically,
got in the line.
we had an extra trigger on the Swift Spear that didn't actually happen, and so the Swift Spear should have been a 3/4, which would have completely changed what happened that combat. Very good catch. Thank you.
they moved up damage.
And so now our great judge here is here to sort things out.
We had a slick shot trigger, right? So plotting slick shot, we counted it as a spell for total, or we
No, I
counted
counted
it
it. I countered. I actually counted this as a prowess trigger for my.
So
Yeah.
this comes.
Because I was trigger. It's not enough.
Okay. So, and then that was big enough to,
They trade thing. Because they have
Alright,
this
so-
prowess off.
what was Swift
So
Spear?
the way that I had it counted, because
Got it.
yeah, so I counted as a prowess trigger. This should be dead. That just
All right,
since that's not supposed to be.
that seems correct.
So
That's
if I
what
hadn't made
I'm
that
asking,
mistake, I
what
would
was the
have folded
difference?
that.
The difference was the extra one made that spot and not the other. So that, yes, that would be dead. And normally,
No,
yours, yeah, because that should be a 3.
Because I shouldn't have a prowess trigger.
Okay, so that'll be a 3/4, that's a 4. So, okay. So normally in this situation, I have to give you both a GRB. It's a game rule violation because you counted something that wasn't supposed to be counted. And unfortunately, you went with it. So it's one of those games were made. I realize it's not your fault because it was you were accepting his interpretation, but you still allowed a game rule to be violated. So I have to give you both a warning. It's not a big deal.
So what's happening here right now? The judge is telling both of them they're going to have a warning for
Yeah.
committing a game rules violation, but they have corrected the board state now, and we're going to move on.
That'll do it.
Yeah, so yeah, I explained everything to the judge there, Zeke, and it seems that everything is on the up and up. Obviously, things just get lost sometimes in the moment, and you know, as I said, it is the player's responsibility to maintain the board state and all that. But when it's something blatant, we can kind of get involved. I had them pause and then go tell the judge what happened, and then he proceeded in the manner that you know was right. So yeah, shout out to Twitch chat, getting the W there.
The really unfortunate thing about that for Richard in particular here is that bolt probably would have been directed at the Scion.
Yeah.
And the Scion would have at least been off the table. I don't know how much it's going to matter because now Richard does not have a lot of anything going on.
Yeah.
This Flage is looking primed to close out this game.
Out of 13.
Yeah, I mean that's super unfortunate.
Two cards in hand.
When a second one's pretty.
Yeah, this big old 4/4s might not even need the Flage.
Yeah, I think Bioempty said GRVs on both. Is I was standing right there. I'm not sure, you know, exactly what it was, but either way, minor infractions. Obviously, things like this happen at big events. You're rocking and rolling, especially under camera. Both of these guys not probably used to being on camera.
Prayer day? Oh, there's no trigger.
And the other thing too, I mean, with the prowess deck in particular, there is just so many triggers that happen. Like, I cannot imagine, especially playing the,
Yeah.
the standard version of this deck. There, like, you just get these giant board states that happen, and it becomes really, really difficult to keep track of. It's one of the nice things about playing online compared to in paper, but
Yeah, all the triggers are just automated. I know playing Storm on
Cast me
Moto is a lot easier. 'Cause you don't have to. All right, roll my dice up.
yep. Oh, consign for the bobble. He did leave at least one consign in.
No shot. That's rough. Or is he gonna consign the trigger on Corey Steelcutter?
It looks like he went for the trigger.
Yeah, this is.
I
I mean,
The top
having the second Scion, even with his board, I don't know
they go.
if it would have mattered a whole lot.
No, it would have been pretty tough. The other thing I will point
You
out
guys have
here,
lifelink, right?
they do not have lifelink
do
right now.
not.
There's no ley line in play.
Oh, gotcha.
Is that consign could have been replicated and actually gotten the trigger and the bobble.
Ooh, hit both of 'em.
Don't think it's going to matter here. These Scions are a real fast clock.
Yeah. On a 1-turn clock now. Drew a land.
Man.
Bunch of names.
Bunch of land, says Richard, and that's going to do it. Ryan going to improve to 1-0, start his tournament on the right foot. Richard going to fall, unfortunately, to 0-1, but he will definitely be, rocking and rolling in this tournament. He is not one to lay down arms and just curl up in a ball and quit. So we could see him later on in the day in the top 8. Thank you all so much. If you're watching live, don't go anywhere. We will have, of course, 6 more rounds of Swiss and then a cut to top 8, so 3 elimination rounds. We are, again, live from Impact Gaming Center in the fabulous Fairview Heights. Hit up impactgamingcenter.gg for all of your Magic the Gathering needs. Like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, like I said, don't go anywhere. I will have a small video from last week's Modern FNM. So don't go anywhere. We appreciate you, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Absolutely.
And we will catch you on the next round. Adios.
What's up, everyone? Jake and Kevin in the booth, back here with round number 2 here at Impact Gaming Center.
Woo.
We got a pretty, I'd say,
Kind of standard.
traditional matchup here with Paul on Izzet Cutter playing the brand new Corey Steelcutter and Brendan on Eldrazi Ramp.
Yeah, that Corey Steelcutter is a pretty good card.
But anyways, if you are watching on Twitch, subscribe to the channel, follow it, subscribe to it. If you haven't used your Amazon Prime subscription yet, please go ahead and give us some of those Bezos bucks. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you're playing for Modern RCQ season down in the comments. And if you like any of the cards you've seen today, you can pick them up at impactgamingcenter.gg. And that's all for the intro. Let's get down to the games. So, Corey Steelcutter, the Menace of Modern versus Gruul Eldrazi, the Menace of Modern.